Hi everybody, today I'd like to talk to you about your Saboteur archetype. First, let's remember there are no bad archetypes, but archetypes in a low vibration will certainly not be your ally. Your Saboteur archetype comes out when you need to heal something in your third chakra. Let's remember the third chakra is right at your solar plexus. It's an energy center that has a spiritual lesson. In the third chakra, we have to learn about ourselves. We are having a relationship with ourselves. It determines our level of self-esteem, of confidence, courage, and in fact, your third chakra is where you get to know you. And so you need to know what your gifts and talents are. So let's imagine you get into this great new relationship. Everything is great. Then about 2 o'clock in the morning, you start to wonder, oh my gosh, am I pretty enough, tall enough, smart enough to maintain this relationship? And before you know it, unconsciously, for the most part, you will sabotage the relationship. Same thing, you get a job promotion. Again, middle of the night, you start wondering, can I pull this off? Am I smart enough? Did they promote the right person? And you will either consciously or unconsciously sabotage this new promotion to prove you don't deserve it. Now, what does that say to me? It says energetically that you need healing in your third chakra. Your confidence level, your self-esteem level are not as high as they could be. So let's talk about how would we raise our confidence and self-esteem level. Well, first and foremost, you need to know yourself. And by that, I mean, what are your gifts and talents? Do you maintain your cool under pressure? Are you a very thoughtful thinker that can see two sides of a story? You need to see what are your actual gifts and talents that you use out in the world. So that's the first thing, you have to know yourself. And I would recommend to you that you begin by making some kind of a list of exactly what you have inside that third chakra. Secondly, in terms of self-esteem and confidence, have you ever faced adversity? Have you ever had to get yourself out of a jam? Have you ever dealt with trouble in your life? Of course you have. Well, how did you do it? Did you use your ingenuity? Did you use your playful child archetype? What did you do to get out of a jam? It tells me that you have what you need inside that third chakra. You just don't know it. So what do? You go back into your past and you look at times that you manage to get out of a tight spot or out of adversity or to pull a rabbit out of the hat, as I like to say. Because that's going to show you you have what it takes. You just have to remember that you have it. Third part about the Saboteur is knowing that when you get called to be of service, you can't sit there and say, well, I don't know if I'm good enough, smart enough, I'm not sure I can do this. Let's just nip that one right in the bud. When you get called to do something, to be of service, trust me, the one upstairs knows better than we do. So if you're being called to do something, it's because you have the capability. It means that you have the gifts and talents, the confidence, the courage to do what you're being called to do. So let's try to remember that, okay? Let's talk about courage for a moment. Now, what do I mean by courage? Courage doesn't mean that you're never afraid. On the contrary, of course you will have fear and anxiety. However, true courage is when you make one thing more important than your fear. Here's an example. Have you ever heard of people coming upon an accident? The car is on fire, but yet somehow they run over to that car, wrench the door open, and pull that person out, full well knowing that at any moment that car could explode, full well knowing at any moment they could get hurt? How do they manage to do that? Are these extraordinary people? Well, we're all extraordinary when we live our blueprint. So yes, they are extraordinary people. In that moment, they made one thing more important than their fear of getting hurt, of that car blowing up. The thing they made most important was the life inside the car. Now, displaying your courage doesn't always come across as this dramatic. I do need you to think back into your past when you displayed courage, simply meaning when you made one thing more important than your fear. I know you've done it. I know it's in there. You've just forgotten. So the way to upgrade your saboteur archetype is to really get to know yourself. Know your capabilities. Know that you are courageous. Know that you do have self-esteem. You just have forgotten. So it takes a little bit of insight, a little bit of an internal journey. And I highly recommend when you start this with your gifts and talents, start to list them, write them down. If you can't think of any, go to your friends and ask them. When you are looking at your confidence and self-esteem level, try to think back to your past. What have you done that has displayed tremendous confidence? Have you spoken your truth in a difficult situation? What have you done? It's in there. You just have to remember it. And in terms of courage, I know you've been courageous. You wouldn't be sitting here right now if you weren't courageous. It takes a lot of courage to maneuver heartache and loss and grief and struggle and pain and difficult circumstances. It takes a lot of courage. You're not sitting in the corner dissociating from life. You're actually engaged. You're in the game. Right there, that tells me that you are a courageous person. So please write these things down. They go into that third chakra, that energy center that is all about you knowing yourself. So when that saboteur comes out at 2 o'clock in the morning and says, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. You're going to go back to that list and say, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And when God calls you to be of service and you're wondering, can I really do this? You're going to say, you know what? I can. Because first off, I wouldn't be called to do this if I weren't capable. And second of all, my past proves to me that I can do it. Try and remember, the saboteur archetype is your friend. It teaches you about a part of you that needs healing. So I want you to go back and look at when you've had those thoughts, and look at perhaps you even remember when you've sabotaged something. Go back and look, and let's heal that saboteur archetype. Also, to let you know, I will be in San Diego in the end of January doing archetype wheel readings. If you've not ever been to an archetype workshop, that's okay, because we can work on the big four that all of us have: victim, saboteur, prostitute, and child. Just getting a reading on those four can change everything. And what we'll do is we'll work on a question that you're grappling with. We will work on a solution to a problem that you're looking for, and we'll see how your archetypes line up to either be your ally or to hinder your goals. And then, how do we shift things to make it work? For the year of 2016, I'm going to be doing these archetype readings about every 60 days, roughly every 2 months. And by that, we can be held accountable to what you learned in the reading, what you need to do in regard to your archetypes, and then come back for the next reading to see where do you go from here. So San Diego, end of January. Next time we'll be in March, San Diego. So get ready. We're going to make a difference. So I'd like you just to remember, the saboteur is your friend. I know I have to speak French because saboteur is so French. The saboteur is your friend and is letting you know that you need to do some healing of your third chakra. Bye for now. Know that we're here if you need us, and let's do some work on that saboteur archetype. Take care. Bye now.